Smooth.
All right, so if you're watching my technique here, extension and recovery underneath. I'm swinging the arms across, and then when I get to the push with the right foot, I hinge this wrist. Very important for having a nice stick position, nice out in front of us, but we're in a nice posture that's solid, consistent, and we're getting direct power into the ice. Not much speed wobble. And from the other angle, you're going to see the difference in our shin angle. But very, very important factor for being efficient and explosive. So Ben's rendition here. Right, we kind of get a toe glide instead of a extension and the recovery right under the hip line. So we're missing that drive. We're kind of just planting it. Right, but we have a nice extension. It's just we have to work on this snap recovery right underneath the shoulder line so that we're getting this drive and we're getting into more of a rhythm. Mr. Yanni. So I'm seeing just extension and then a short recovery. So that probably indicates weak hips and his posture is extremely over his toes. So it's hard to recover underneath the body. So we're not getting as much drive and glide as we should. So we have to be able to pop this out, full extension, and then drive it under the shoulder line and then get that drive factor. And a lot of it, I think, has to do with ankle mobility. Yeah, that's why we got to really focus on it. But you have a lot of knee valgus when you get this push, and your gait is very narrow. So it all comes from the ankles. Okay, so when I look at Mr. Jacobs, right, it's a good job of setting it, but I think there's definitely hip mobility because it's kind of like we're getting a little bit of a wiggle here. Right, it doesn't look like those hips are free, so the gait's kind of narrow, but there's decent power. But I think there's super tight hips, and ankle flexion needs work. And you're going to see, I think, from a side profile that he's over his toes. But there's good power and it's good extension. We just got to work on that recovery with a wider base and a better posture that's more upright. All right, let's watch mine. So you can see that extension with the really steep Y angle. So that's how close your boot is to the ice. And then you're going to see this is called shin angle on the glide foot. We need these two factors to be explosive and efficient in our mechanics. And that's this extension and drive underneath the body right there. Extension and drive. All right, so we're going to compare that to yours and see the differences. So this one here, you can see Mr. Jacob. All right, we're getting this extension and this high kick instead of bringing it right under our body and getting that drive. All right, his posture is a little bit over his toes. We can bring that up a little bit. But we got to work on this extension and this recovery right underneath. All right, so Mr. Ben. I mean, it's good extension. Pretty good recovery. You can make that a little bit smoother. and work on the shin angle a bit. Get a little bit more over the toes when we're driving that foot, and we'll get more power out of that. But I think once again, we got to work on the hip mobility, the ankle flexion, and that'll allow this gait to be a little bit wider, more powerful, and more well balanced. But it's a pretty efficient stride right now. All right, Mr. Johnny's here. You can see from this side, his spine angle's way out over his toes. Then we have a little bit of a lag in this extension. We could definitely use a wider gait here, but there's power in the stride. We just got to smoothen it out and really work on this, getting this knee out over this toe so we have better shin angle, but the Y angle is pretty good from this